Hey rollers, it would be great if we could treat every training roll like it was a competition, blasting full speed through positions and submissions. I like to train several times a week, so my 50-year-old body would not deal very well with this kind of intensity.
I can relate to that.
The purpose of this video is to show you that it's actually possible to roll light and train every day. Most jiu-jitsu classes start out with a pace that us older athletes can handle easily. There's often some kind of warm-up followed by a mixture of instruction and partner drilling. I love it when I can work with someone technical like Gerald during this time because we can help each other refine some details. In this class we worked on swimming under for a shoulder clamp, and then depending on where the opponent's opposite arm is, we would either shoot a triangle or stretch him out for a sweep. As I mentioned, this is the kind of exercise that's not very taxing, and I expect to be doing this kind of work for many years. Every gym is different, but we usually budget about a half an hour for rolling. This is where it's easy to overdo it, leaving yourself too sore to train the next day. And this is where I highly recommend actually going light. You've seen the memes of "let's go light." These highlight the natural tendency for guys to want to take it slowly and be technical, but then end up being aggressive. I had been drilling the techniques with Gerald, so we did the first live roll together as well. I like to choose someone, especially for the first roll, who actually knows how to go light. Gerald is great at flow rolling, and I trust him to go through a variety of positions without carelessly forcing anything. In this case, it gave me the chance to get into position to try the technique of the day in the context of a roll. I tried hitting a shoulder clamp sweep a couple of times, but Gerald was keenly aware of my intentions and took steps to shut it down, even in this light roll.
It's not gonna happen.
In my second roll, I went with Prince. We ended up in a variety of positions where I had the chance to try out a few attacks, including a no-gi Ezekiel and some choke attempts from back control. Later, when Prince started wrapping up an inverted triangle, I kept my base, tried to stay heavy on him, and just relaxed. I probably could have muscled my head out, but I didn't sense a strong threat, and I do what I can to keep my ears beautiful.
My ears. Are you looking at my ears?
In the next roll, you'll see me trying to roll light even while I was under constant threats. I have a tough time trying to dictate positions with my black belt instructor Lucien. There are days where I pour it on and try to force my way into good positions, but usually my best option is to focus on strong defense. If I can get through a 5-minute roll without being tapped, I consider it a victory. I spent most of this roll trying to create frames, keeping my elbows tight and using my legs to create space as much as possible. Keeping my own movements light, I had more energy to defend when I hit the panic button.
The panic button is for emergencies only.
I continued the lightness into my fourth roll when I squared off with Caleb. I caught an early surprising Kimura and then worked on defending myself in a variety of positions. Caleb is one of the professional fighters in our gym, and he has cardio for days. He recognizes the need to avoid injury though, so he uses these slower, more controlled rolls to sharpen his technique. Near the end, I was under his side control, so I thought I'd try a buggy choke. This is something I've never really worked on or hit in a live roll. Tips are welcome in the comments. In my fifth roll of the night, I was dealing with Brennan. He's bigger than me, so I was determined that I would avoid heavy top pressure by focusing on getting to the top. It's easier to stay relaxed and keep it light if you're not being crushed. I have a lot more experience than Brennan, so I found a way to use my hooks to unbalance him and keep his weight and pressure off of me. It's all well and good to try to roll light, but if you're carrying your opponent's weight and the subs are flying at you, it isn't easy. It's much easier to dictate the pace when you're in top control.
Duh.
And it was time to line up and shake hands. Most guys are ready to call it a night after the handshake, but with all my light rolling, I had a bit of steam left, so I took on Chris in a bonus roll. I've heard that this is where a lot of people get injured because they're tired, their technique is a bit sloppy, and they throw caution to the wind. Remember that what you're doing carries risks, and those risks multiply if you start moving carelessly. Think about protecting yourself and your training partner constantly, or your training will suffer some serious setbacks. The way I see it, the main benefit of light rolling is that you get to do so much more of it. I just had 6 5-minute rolls back to back with only a short break for the handshake line. My body doesn't need much recovery time after this type of rolling, so I was good to train the next day. That beats 2 or 3 explosive matches that leave me sore for days. More intense training obviously has benefits too, but I limit how much I do it. Well, that's all I have for this one. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I'd love to hear any comments or suggestions for future videos as well. Thank you for watching.